Tomorrow marks the 22nd anniversary of South Africa's democracy. A key part of this is our Constitution, which assists in rectifying some of the ills of the past and give voice to the voiceless. Many students feel that they are the latter and are launching the IamConstitution student debate at Constitution Hill today. To tell us more about this, we are joined by Nomphendulo Mkatshwa, who is the president of the Wits Student Representative Council, and Ruby Ichikowitz, the coordinator of today's event. It's probably the first time, every time I introduce your father, I stumble over his name. So, thanks to your dad, I got it right this time. 10 out of 10, thank you. Welcome. Nice to see you both again.
Good to be here.
So, this is the student debate that's going to be launched tonight. Why did you feel it was necessary to get the student side and the student voice out there?
Well, I mean, I was, we as the student governance structures at Wits University were approached by Ruby himself on behalf of the Family Foundation to find a way of incorporating students in the whole discussion of the Constitution, what it means to South Africans, and particularly now with our current call for free, quality and equal education, and for the total redress of the education sector. How do we then as students use the Constitution to allow us to then fulfill our particular demands? We were approached by Ruby, house committees of the university, school councils of the university, the SRC itself, and various clubs and societies to say, guys, let's come together and let's debate how we can use the Constitution to allow us to fulfill our particular plight.
Great. So take us back to the beginning. I mean, because you obviously the idea comes from the Family Foundation.
Yes.
Talk us through the starting phases of it.
So this year marks the 20-year commemoration of the signing in of the Constitution. And so in the beginning of the year, we launched our hashtag IamConstitution campaign, and it's being rolled out throughout the year. So we started with It's a Fine Line exhibition at the Old Fort in Constitution Hill, which was actually on Morning Live. And it's an art exhibition by Dean Simon of these photorealistic artworks commemorating many struggle icons and many of the stories that led up to the creation and the formation of the Constitution. And this is one of the next events in this chapter. On Sunday, we had a walk. The Ichikowitz Family Foundation partnered with Constitution Hill, and we had a We the People and We the Children walk through the inner city of Johannesburg.
Stunning.
With thousands of people.
That's wonderful. I was following it quite closely. The Constitution, really, I mean, lately everybody's talking about the Constitution, and I think, it's a natural course of events because the whole idea is to protect our Constitution. And I would imagine that it is important to talk about it and to engage on the Constitution. The kind of discussions that are going to be held, what are you envisioning is going to come out of this?
So we're covering three main themes this afternoon. The first one is education, because it applies principally to us. And we want to see what is the student sentiment from the vast student leader population. We're then going to discuss accountability and Chapter 9 institutions, because there's a lot about in the Constitution that needs to be understood or learnt about more. So we're going to discuss the Public Protector and the Auditor General and the Human Rights Commission. And finally, we're going to discuss intersectionality and human rights and how different struggles intersect and how we can combat them on a human rights level.
I want to bring you into the conversation because I know you made quite an interesting analysis saying, let's talk about our Constitution's pros and cons. Let's properly analyze and get to the roots of the Constitution. When we talk about pros and cons, I mean, what are you referring to? Let's look at the cons, because I suppose we all know the pros. But what do you think needs to be changed?
Well, I mean, let's talk about, accessibility to education and so forth. I don't know if many of us are aware that the Constitution doesn't say that we are entitled to free education. In fact, the Constitution says that the government ought to find creative ways to make education accessible to all. Something I'm paraphrasing now, right? Something to, and this is under Section 29 of Chapter 2, which is the Bill of Rights. So, and it speaks on education. If finding creative ways to make education accessible would then be resorting to free education, could that be something that we include? So And I mean, when we're having this discussion, we're not having it in isolation from the Freedom Charter, which was adopted by so many South Africans, building up to the call for freedom or the emancipation of the South African people. So when you marry the Freedom Charter and you marry the Constitution, and you look at what both of these documents are saying on access to higher education, it doesn't really say what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, the Freedom Charter speaks about scholarships for higher education and training. How do we use this document to then advance our core? Because it doesn't really say what we think it says.
Yeah.
But also, there is space for us to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but for us to kind of
revisit some of the things that are said in the Constitution.
In the Constitution.
Is what you're saying, particularly pertaining to education. I mean, that's what you really
I mean,
are.
that's where our focus is. And also, I mean, when you're speaking about the current issues of intersectionality in society, we're looking at the students at Rhodes University, of which we at Wits University stand strongly in solidarity with, as people who, as a society that is also exposed to those sort of infringements on our rights, to our dignity, our equality, and our security. When we speak about intersectionality, we're realizing how, the Constitution is meant to be there to protect us, yet there's so many people who are abusing their rights as well within the Constitution. It's quite a difficult one. I mean, we are all equal before the law. Everyone can come and stipulate their particular stance on why they did certain things, which I think leaves a huge vacuum.
Yeah.
For abuse.
I'm actually just having a look here, what it says about education in the Constitution. I think what it says is basically everyone does have a right to education in their language.
Yes.
But the terms of free education is not there. Everyone has the right, that's it, to a basic education, including adult basic education, and to further education with the state through reasonable measures must make progressively available and accessible. Available and accessible, but not free. So it's not written in the Constitution, which is what you are arguing. I mean, I can see this is going to be a rigorous debate.
But what's very interesting is that in Chapter 2, Section 29, Subsection 2, is that it says that everyone has the right to receive education in the official language or languages, which is for students of the University of Pretoria and of Stellenbosch and of Northwest University. I mean, the Constitution does allow us to be making these particular calls, but of course, subsection 1 is one that we need to interrogate further. Indeed. And see how could we use it to achieve a particular demand. And I think tonight is a space where young people can come and speak about.
Who is going to be there? Because we need some big ears there. We need some of the big guys to be listening to all of this. Who's attending tonight?
So our keynote speaker is Dr. Matthew Sposa.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Who is an integral, is a constitutional expert. And we have 300 student leaders from across university campuses in attendance, and it will be an open forum for audience participation.
So anybody can come. It's happening at Constitution Hill?
At Constitution
Where
Hill.
Exactly at Constitution Hill?
In the Old Fort.
In the Old Fort. Okay, so it's in the Old Fort. It's this evening. What time does it start
It's
at?
this evening. It starts at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Anybody can arrive?
Well, we have a competition for a hashtag IamConstitution video selfie.
Oh, really?
So take a video selfie of yourself saying, I am Constitution because.
Yeah.
And that will get entry to the event once you post that on Twitter.
Fantastic. Okay, so you use the hashtag IamConstitution, post your video talking about why you are Constitution as a South African, and you could also attend that event. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking to these bright minds of our country, and just looking where we're going and this debate that's taking place about the Constitution this evening at Constitution Hill. All right.